This is a tricky one too, because there's a fine line between like being a crazy person and doing things that are reasonable, and you don't want to make things more complicated than they need to be. But I don't think that they are. Like, this is my own bias. Like, I always think it's better to be on top of your shit and track your stuff and have an idea of what's going in your body. Some people don't think that. Some people think if you follow, general principles that you'll be fine. And they both work. Like, some people can do either, and it works for them. I always err more on the side of like more specific tracking stuff because I'm the science guy and I like having the numbers and having the data and all that kind of stuff. But regardless, to some degree, you need to be on top of what your nutrition protocol is. So one thing I started doing with the kids is every Saturday I give them a little talk between our two workout groups about something off ice related, whether it's nutrition, recovery, whatever. So we've been doing nutrition for the last few weeks, and I'm just teaching them basics about like what are calories, macros, how much approximately you should be eating or looking to eat or whatever, just to give them some scope of what this information is. So what I would say about the nutrition stuff is, obviously we've talked about this a bunch before, but it's so important that you start to have a good diet, man. Like, it's just so important. And for a lot of these kids that they have aspirations to move on and grow and get bigger and stronger and faster, they all say that. Why? Because I asked them, like, before we do our talks, I'm like, why are you here? What's the point of being in the gym? Why are you here? Well, I want to get bigger. Well, I want to get stronger. Well, I want to get faster. It's like, okay, you know how to do that?
look better.
Yeah, right?
That's what everyone does.
Yeah, everyone says that, right? It's like, do you know how to do that? It's like,
Right.
you could spend as many hours as you want in this gym. You're not going to get bigger if you don't eat enough to get bigger.
Yeah.
And I always give them the caveat that for the group that I'm talking to, most of them are going through puberty. So by default, they're going to get some growth just because they got the horse hormones going through them right now. But for somebody like me, puberty's over. So if I want to get bigger,
Imagine if it wasn't.
Imagine that. I got a Gandalf beard coming in now. But if I want to get bigger, it's almost entirely nutrition.
Yep.
So if I want to put on weight, it's nutrition. If I want to lose weight, it's nutrition. It's not, I don't get any default gains anymore, So for these guys, I'm trying to get them into that information where it's like, okay, how do I actually achieve the goal that I want? So again, it all plays into the same theme for yourself. So if you're saying, okay, I need to get faster. Okay. There's something you're going to do on the ice that you're going to focus on. There's something you're going to do off the ice that you're going to focus on. There's something you're going to do in the kitchen that you're going to focus on. If I want to get faster,
and you're going to sleep to make sure that you can.
Well, yeah, we're going to get to that. Yeah. So if your goal is, okay, I need to get stronger, I need to get bigger because I'm getting knocked off the puck easily.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have your on ice plan, you have your off ice plan. You have to have your plan in the kitchen, man.
Yeah.
You're eating a lot in a day. Yeah. So what I say to most of the guys without getting too specific is make sure you're prioritizing protein at every meal, and then just make sure you eat a lot. That's it. Make sure you eat a lot. Make sure you prioritize protein at every meal. And then we're trying to keep our diet pretty clean. We're supposed to be athletes because you need the nutrients, man. You need the nutrients to grow. You need the nutrients to repair, especially when you're constantly kicking the shit out of yourself. You have your workout, you have your skate, whatever you have to do in the day. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on, especially like later in the summer when they're going to be here for 7 hours in the day. Yeah. And they got their killer workout. They got their killer skate on the ice. You have to be able to replace what you're taking out of yourself, So that means you have to have quality food. You just have to. There's no choice. There's no debate. There's none of that. You have to have good food. The majority of your diet has to be good food, and you have to prioritize protein. So those are the two things that you can do to start your plan. And then if you want to get into more specifics about things to track and all that kind of stuff, there's ways you can do that too. But we'll save that for another episode, or you can listen to some of our older episodes about nutrition stuff. So that's all I'll say about that.
So like you said, it's not rocket science, but it is. Nutrition is a very difficult thing to master. And then
it's as complicated as you make it, and because you can make it infinitely complicated, or you can keep it as bare bones, right? You have either way you can go with it. Sorry.
Yeah. So, like in the course that I took from precision nutrition, it's like people always try to complicate it, but if you can, he calls it 3 levels of eating: level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 1 is what, if you can do that 90% of the time, you will be as lean and as in good a shape as you possibly could, like as far as nutrition goes. Level 2 is where when people start doing something and they want to get gains, they think they have to get to a level 2 or a level 3 level eater, which is actually not maintainable unless you're super, super, super disciplined. But that would be like in season all the time.
Yeah.
Level 2 eating would be like, this is where you add in, I'm saying it like kind of weird, but you're getting into like the supplements are making a difference. They're actually making a difference
Right.
though.
Right.
They're actually making a difference. And then level 3 would be like, and you're always maintaining a 6-pack. And then level 3 would be like your bodybuilding type of thing, but it's not maintainable.
Yeah.
It's not. You'll go nuts.
Yeah, it's like where your job is that.
Right.
Yeah.
So when people like, you know, like you said, you have pushback sometimes, you got to be so serious. It's like, well, this level 1 eating is just your basic, but it's good for all athletes.
All humans.
Until you get to like levels where they can actually understand your blood types and say, okay, if you had more of this, you know, that's where it starts to get complicated. But what it is you're eating, like you said, protein, like quality protein, drinking your water, having your veggies, having the right fruits, having the right starches, all that stuff. It's just basic eating. You're not eating a whole bunch of junk food 90% of the time. You know how many people do that? People that are even dialed in, very small percentage do it for like 90% of the time. It's very hard because you have an environment that wins a lot of the times, all these different things, emotions, all this kind of stuff. So that's very hard. So maintaining level 1 eating, being a good level 1 eater is important. And it's also important that, like, what I loved is that when you do this with the kids, and this what we do all the time is we try to educate them on many, many things. Because if I show someone 10 things, they might keep one. That one might spin off and get it back to the 10 that we taught anyways. Right. So it's important. And for anyone that said, like you said earlier, like you guys are so serious about it. Well, the kids are serious. Sorry, man. If you don't like how serious we are, don't watch this. I'm fine with it. And that's what I say to customers. If you don't like a serious training session where you get results, just don't come. I don't care.
Yeah.
So if you don't like it, just don't watch. Not a big deal. Yeah. It's not affecting my life.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can be less serious somewhere else. I don't care. This is for people that want to be players. You want to help your kids. I'm sorry. Yeah. You know? But so anyways, that's level 1. If you can do that, it's fantastic. And it's great for the kids to understand it, because if they do go to junior or whatever, they can actually make decisions. They understand, like some of Charlie's players and themselves, like they're, you know, they have their meals. They know not to snack here or there, and they're smart about things. Mm-hmm. It's wonderful to see. The other thing I wanted to say about nutrition is, for all hockey players, I would say, not just junior and pro, is the season beats you down. It beats you down. So it's actually not possible. You can eat, you can eat healthy and all that kind of stuff, but what happens is you're on the road a lot. You're so busy, you're so active that your eating does go sideways a little bit. It has to, because after if you're on the road and the team is giving you, I don't know, burgers and fries, that's what you're getting. You have no choice unless you pack your own meals all the time, but it becomes like, now you're getting weird anyways. You need calories, right? So anyways, in the season, it's much, much harder. So that's why once you get back and reset, you get back on track so that you can build that temple back up to, right, you know, get all the proper nutrients and build the muscle and all that kind of stuff, so that this is the time where you're doing that. So
right.
Is that...
That's good. That's good, because the other point I was going to make, you touched on a bunch there, but I'll just go back to 2 things. The last one you were talking about there is I'm going to talk about in terms of stress. So when you're in the season, you're stressed out, man. Like you're tired, your body's beat down, you don't have enough time to recover. It doesn't matter how much time you're on the ice every day, you don't have time to recover. Yeah. Right? You can't work out every day.
Plus school.
Well, you can't work out every day and still recover. Right. Yet you work out every day. Yeah. So it's like you're going to be in a net negative situation anyways, and you don't want food to become another stressor where you're like so crazy about making sure everything is to a T. Some people do that without stress. Like, so for me, it's not incredibly stressed, and I wouldn't even say I'm a 90% on with my food all the time, because on the weekends I at least have 2 meals a week where I'm not 100% dialed in. So right there, we're at 80% now, right? So I wouldn't even say I'm a 90%er, but some people, they don't find it stressful. Like I'm more towards that end where I can plan all my meals, I can have everything macroed out and marked and measured and all that kind of stuff, and I don't find it stressful. I actually find it more stressful to not have it set up, right? So do I. Yeah. So that's just for me. But when you're someone who's in the season constantly getting a beat down, you don't want to add another stressor into your life of, oh, I can't eat this because
Yeah.
That's
That's a
not
good
good
point,
either,
man.
right?
Yeah.
You don't want to add another stress to the
Yeah.
system. So
Yeah.
you can be a little more lax. And this is what I always say to the kids is once you get I never tell them that part. I never tell them that part until they have their base.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to give you permission to eat like an asshole because they
Yeah.
don't even know what their
Yeah.
base is yet. I had this conversation with a kid last year because he was trying to put on weight and he's like, man, like I can't put on weight. Like I'm measuring the calories. I'm trying to make sure I'm eating and it's so hard. And like I'm doing the shakes and trying to get, and I'm like, okay, now we can talk about adding in a little bit of this and that because you're working to keep the base. You understand the base part. Now you can add in the extra more high calorie dense foods that maybe aren't the best thing you could ever eat because you need it.
Your
to a certain
body's
degree,
saying,
right?
dude, this ain't enough.
It's not enough. You can't eat enough whole food to do that. Your body, your hormones won't allow it. Like they're just saying we're done, man. Like we're done. You know, so this is where you can get the more dense sources. But I never lead with that. That's always like the tail end of the information distribution that I give to them because a lot of them have so much room for improvement in the base of their diet.
Yeah.
And this goes to my second point where you mentioned supplements. I get kids asking me all the time, should I take creatine? Should I take a mass gainer? Should I take that? It's like, you should make sure your diet's good first, is what you should do.
Yeah.
Do you have protein at every meal? No? Well, then you're going to go spend $95 a month on a mass gainer when you don't even have protein at every meal.
You don't have real food.
Right? You don't have the real food yet. So there's way more room to improve as your base. Like your supplements are supplements. They're not the base.
That's right.
So for kids at the very least, kids that are not as advanced, get your base diet in order, right? If you're not sure what that means, we have episodes we talked about that before. But in general, it's get the protein at every meal. Try to eat whole foods as much as you can, and make sure you're eating a lot. If your goal is to get stronger, faster, bigger, which most kids are, that's your template right there. And then you can get more specific after that with tracking calories and all that kind of stuff. And the last thing I'll say with the nutrition thing is a good idea is to start measuring what your weight is. So what I say with the kids when I give them the calorie conversation, a lot of them are starting to keep an eye on it and all this kind of stuff. I said, get your weight in the morning, right when you wake up. So get up, do a number 1 or number 2, whatever you got to do, and then get your weight right in the morning before you eat anything.
Yeah, it's consistent.
That'll be the most consistent measure of the day. If you weigh yourself during the day, you sweat more that day, you ate more that day, you drank more that day, then there's more fluctuation. In the morning, it'll be you just had 8 hours of fasting, to use a term.
Yeah.
So that's going to be your most consistent result. And then you can see over time whether or not your nutrition protocol is working. This is a way to measure, right? If you don't want to track and use MyFitnessPal or whatever, you can just use your weight. So it's like, okay, my goal is to put on 10 pounds this off season. That's a reasonable goal for a lot of kids.
Mm-hmm.
If 4 weeks go by and you haven't moved, it's like, okay, that's an indicator. Like we got to tweak something here.
Yeah.
Or you're losing, or you're gaining too fast.
Yeah.
If 4 weeks goes by and you're up 4 pounds, 5 pounds, it's like, okay, that's kind of quick. Like maybe you're eating it a bit too much, or you have too much junk in the diet, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that's a good measurement strategy for the nutrition thing. But again, it doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be like super. And that I did that. Like I got so crazy about the scale weight, and kids don't understand like the fluctuation day to day just because of water and stuff like that. So you don't have to be crazy about it. But that's a good way to track the nutrition thing. So that's all I got on that. Unless you have any other.